I don't think any student wakes up saying, today, I'm going to ruin a teacher's day.
They
I'm going to
don't.
act so crazy. I get an IS. Like, so everything you're seeing in front of you, young teacher, seasoned teacher, new to the field and has changed, like everything you're seeing in front of you in your classroom, you should know is a reflection of you, because the kids are just walking through the door. Bethany Brown, and I work at Teaching Lab. I'm a programs manager. I started off as a facilitator. I wanted something to kind of like reignite my passion for education, for equitable learning, and all those things. And I came across Teaching Lab. And so I started just facilitating math sessions because math is like my jam. So all you math teachers out there, I don't know who you are, but I know you have a great personality. I know you have amazing energy, and I know you are killing the game.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a math teacher.
Oh, see, there you go. So I started facilitating math sessions, and the more I did it, the more I realized how much it spoke to who I was as an individual. Like, every student deserves a high quality education. And so talking to teachers as a facilitator with Teaching Lab about ways that they can find that within their curriculum and ways that they can build it if it's not present, ways to identify it if their curriculum is inequitable and isn't addressing different learning styles and different backgrounds and things like that. It just really started to like feed into the work I was doing in person at my school.
When you first came to Teaching Lab, like you were looking to reignite your passion for education. What made you lose your passion, or what was like the thing that caused your passion to the light to kind of fade? What was happening?
It's like the fight that we're all in. You know, we want to close the achievement gap. We want to create positive educational experiences for students.
Mm-hmm.
But the lack of understanding of some of the people, especially at the school that I ended at, they weren't relatable to the students. They didn't understand how their actions could be detrimental to the students. And there was a lot of that happening. A lot of the teacher having biases or the admin having predisposed like opinions and mindsets, and it was really starting to play out in the culture of our school.
Give us an example of a bias that has an impact on classroom instruction, because I think sometimes people hear that word, but to be able to hear that word and interpret it to something that you are actually doing in your classroom instruction and its impact on kids, I think that's sometimes a big leap for people to make.
The school is going to have crazy hair day. 96% of the students at our school are Black. We're going to have crazy hair day. Your hair gets to be whatever it wants.
And we can't do that.
And so one student comes in and her mom has pressed her hair out, put the wires in, put funny little Hobby Lobby decorations and cotton ball, and her hair is just like crazy, right? But we know that was intentional. Mm-hmm. And another student who doesn't have that home life, and she knows that her hair is crazy, but it's not because her mom intentionally did that for fun, but because maybe mom worked late, or mom isn't there, and grandma didn't do it, and she doesn't know how. And she shows up and a teacher says, "Oh my gosh, Lakeisha, that is so cute." But that student knows, and every other Black woman, female teacher, knows that was not the intention. Mm-hmm. And now it feels like you're teasing me. Mm-hmm. And it feels like you're causing all eyes and all the attention on the fact that this is my life. And so you can't just compliment every single thing that you see because they're Black.
The process of fixing my hair is way too much, and it's easier for me to not participate than to have to engage in the process to actually fix my hair.
Right, and it comes down to a matter of dignity. you're almost attacking my dignity by sitting there and saying, I feel like you are attacking my dignity by sitting there and saying, oh, the way that you did your hair, because of the color of your skin and because I don't really understand it, like, bravo for you for whatever this is. Like, you get to get away with that because you're Black.
Are there bias in professional learning spaces? And if so, what are they?
Nobody was going to say it's because the students are Black. It's not because they're Black, but it's because, Kevion's like mom
Doesn't care
and works too late. And that she told me the other day at parent conferences that she didn't get child support. So, she's really struggling and has to take on another, so because of all these, and there was just always excuses. So in professional learning spaces, those excuses would really surface.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, instead of people saying, I just don't believe that these students of color are capable of learning high quality, therefore I do not put that in front of them. Instead of them saying that statement, they would say, well, he lives off of 31st. So, what's the point in sending homework home with him? And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I know about Kansas City. I know the streets here, the Paseo and all these, I know the type of homes that are on the street. Send the work, the at grade level, high quality work home with him. Put the supports in place in class so that he can grow and learn. Don't worry about what street he lives on.
So would you say that in professional learning spaces, like, there is actually a need to push racial identity conversations?
In professional learning spaces, I would just set that tone that if you want to really impact your students and reach them, you have to understand what they care about. Because them understanding what they care about, being able to reach them from that place will connect them to you, and you are their connection to learning, which connects them to learning.
And you have to be in tune with why that thing that they care about may or may not be important to you based on your own racial background. Yeah.
And you have to, and you need to be able to state that.
Yeah.
You need to be able to own that. And honestly, it's okay. I remember we were in a DEI training and we were doing it with some other schools. And this one white teacher comes off a mute. It was during the pandemic. But she comes off a mute and she was like, I will not be made to feel bad about how I am teaching my Black and brown students. Like, I did not do anything. All I do is go in every day and I do my best, because my best is what they deserve, and I do it, and then I go home, and that's it. And I will not feel bad for doing my best. And I thought to myself, I think you're missing the whole point of this training. Nobody's attacking how you execute instruction in the class. We're asking you about you, the quality that you bring. It's actually not so much about your students as far as what they're bringing. It's about what you have recognized about yourself. And from that, what do you need to implement? What do you need to adjust? What do you need to reflect on? What's the work that you need to do? Because once you do that, the residual of that is better relationships with your students, more engagement with the content and the learning, right? When we find these avenues and access points for students and the learning that are interesting to them and that they care about. And so when she said that, I thought to myself, if you're only looking at it from the standpoint of my kids are getting, but you never say what you are bringing, the good, the bad, the in between, what are you bringing? And you as a teacher are going to have to put in the work, and professional learning spaces are going to have to bring it up. So just name it. This is going to be hard.
if I'm a random teacher and I'm listening to you say that, like, what should I be reflecting on? Like, what if I'm just entering into this conversation, into this space as this is a new idea for me as a person? What should I begin to be reflecting on if I'm thinking about my racial identity and impact, or how it's influence, maybe I'll say influence, and its influence on my classroom? What are some things that I should begin to even reflect on?
The first thing you need to think about, and this happened for me with ELA. I'm a math person, but obviously with teaching undergrad, you teach ELA. The first thing you want to think about is, what did you have access to that impacted your classroom experience, your grades, your testing skills, homework completion skills, and study skills? Like, what did you have access to that made you stronger in those areas that may not be accessible to some of the students in your room? And what I mean is, for example, we were doing RTI reading time, and I started to realize that you cannot assume that kids can go home and read for 20 minutes every day with their parent and blah, 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 and the parent signs a reading log. You can't assume that. So you need to come in with the mindset of, I'm going to model for students how to be an independent reader. Even though growing up, that may have been modeled for me, even though my parents may have had time to sit down and read with me every night before bed, even though that was my experience, I cannot assume that is every child's experience. So how do I bring that into this room, into that space? And I think people need to be super careful. You are not that child's parent, and you're not their hero, you're not their savior, but you are a model of what learning should be and what it should feel like. If I had a very quiet working space to do my homework and to study, at some point during my day, kids should also have very quiet, calm moments where they can focus. And if it was true that my mom or dad, whenever it was time for me to do homework, they weren't helping me and reading everything for me, but they put that cognitive load on me because they trusted me and they believed in me. And I need to do that same thing for my students, and not read everything to them, and not give them, if they're in third grade, give them second grade work. And so what was true for you that was positive, that impacted your educational experience, you also want to be true for students. And if they don't have that type of access, and a lot of them won't, or some of them won't, how do you bring that into the room? I don't think any student wakes up saying, today, I'm going to ruin the teacher's day. I'm going to act so crazy. I get an IS. I think they truly come to learn. So everything you're seeing in front of you, young teacher, seasoned teacher, new to the field and has changed, everything you're seeing in front of you in your classroom, you should know is a reflection of you. Because the kids are just walking through the door.
Your 3 words that describe the power of a Black teacher. What would be your 3 words?
It saturates a space when they show up with a desire to really help kids grow and learn, and they want to start reframing the culture of a school. It just saturates the school. So it's saturating, it is enlightening, and the power of a Black teacher, I don't know if this is an option, but I'm going to say it, is necessary.